Hi crafty friends. So you'll notice we're starting in a bit of a different place today, and that's because you are watching live footage of me scrapbooking today. Part of my assignment on the Paper Issues design team is to do a live scrapbooking feed in their Facebook group twice a month. And when I did the live, first of all, I had a great time recording live, but I also, saved the footage and I went on Instagram and I asked you guys if you would prefer to see it live the way it was on Facebook or if you prefer to see an edited and voiceovered version. And most of you picked a live feed. So here's the downside to watching Tashiana Scrapbook Live. This video is an hour long. Yes, a whole hour. So go grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of wine, a glass of wine. This is a judge-free zone, and come hang out with me. The other thing is, because this was a live feed, you're going to hear me responding to comments and answering questions. This is the comments that people were posting while they were watching the live feed. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, go ahead and ignore it. There is enough information in what I was doing and as I was making it for you to learn the techniques that I was doing. So I hope you enjoy this style of video. This is 100% an experiment. So if this is not your cup of tea, go ahead and leave it in the comments and let me know that if I decide, the next time I do a live scrapbooking, if you would like to see the process, I could 100% edit it down and put it in the up on YouTube as an edited video. But we are trying something out here just so you can see the same experience they got if you're not on Facebook or not in the group. So I'm gonna stop blabbing now and we're gonna get to the process. So I'll see you guys at the end. Bye. Hi friends, so I am going to hang tight for a few more minutes and see who shows up. And then I'm going to get started because oh my Lord, when I was like storyboarding, hi Tracy, oh my God, thank you so much for coming. Okay, so when I was storyboarding this layout, first of all, this is my first time doing any sort of like live scrapbooking situation. And when I was storyboarding this layout, I was like, how can I add all the things? Oh, let me turn on my lights because it's kind of dark. So hold on. I'm going to turn on both of my lights. It's going to get really bright really quick. Okay. That should be, okay, that's already loads better. Hey, party people. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Hi. Thanks for coming. Okay, so I have never done any sort of like live scrapbooking. I'm going to like sit down and like get comfortable. But I've never done any sort of like live scrapbooking situation. And when I applied for the Paper Issues design team, I was like, live scrapbooking sounds like a great idea. And now that I'm actually doing it, I'm like, this is going to be terrifying. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for this layout, because the challenge I picked was free file free for all, because Paper Issues has like some great cut files. I was doing that thing where I go and at some point I need to stop saying and start working. So I'm going to hopefully keep this around 45 minutes. But there's a lot going on, so I probably should stop talking and start making stuff. So let me show you what I have on my desk. So I picked two cut files. This is from the She-Ra set. So here's what I'm scrapping. I'm scrapping a photo of me trying on my cap for pinning because obviously my hair didn't look like this pinning day because I was like a crazy person here. But I had to try on my cap and make sure it fit. And this was like the first day where I was like, yo, dude, I really made it out of nursing school. Like this really happened. So that's the photo I'm scrapping. And I'm going to be scrapping a lot of pinning photos at some point, but this is what I'm doing today. And I loved this cut file that said she believed she could, so she did. And then I cheated a little bit and I cut the insides from this. So I'm using the Truly Grateful line. I probably should have said that, but I'm using Paige Evans Truly Grateful. And I cheated a little bit and I cut the insides from this pattern paper. This is paper number 9. Because I didn't want to like hand cut everything. So everything is hanging out in this little coffee filter. I have coffee filters all over my scrap room. They make really, hey Danielle, they make really convenient bowls for stuff. So I have that. And then the other thing I have on my desk is this, and it's called, something about bumps. I probably should have written it down, but it's like life's little bumps, but I thought it looked a lot like clouds. So I have this, and then I saved some of the insides, and I'm doing, guys, I'm literally doing the most today. So we'll see how this goes. But it's Sunday and I have no other plans, and hopefully you guys are ready to hang out with me for a little bit. So let's get started because I'm done talking. So what I thought would be fun, so this is, oh, thank you, Janet. Hi, friend. So this is a paper from Paige Evans, the Truly Grateful line, and I thought it'd be fun to recreate this and have the cut file sit on top of it. Yeah, of course, Tracy, more is always more. So I thought it'd be fun to recreate this kind of pattern, but instead of using pattern paper, because I don't know if you're like me, but I'm a paper hoarder and I refuse to use stuff, I went through my stash of distress oxides. You guys, like when I tell you like more is more today, we are doing, good morning, Kathy. We are literally doing the absolute most this today. Hey, Cassie. So here's my plan. So I went through, I have almost the full collection of the distress oxides. I love mixed media. I do a lot of mixed media. So I went through and I pulled out, like you guys, there's like literally 15 inks in front of me. I might not use all 15, but I have a bunch of inks in front of me. And I am going to attempt to recreate this. This is my plan. I'm going to attempt to recreate this. So before I turned on the camera, like I've been at my desk for an hour, trying to get situated. I did prep this page with some gesso. This is the gesso I use. It's Liquitex Basics acrylic gesso. It's like $6 or $7 at Michael's. It's really affordable. I don't always do page prep if I'm doing mixed media, but because I wanted to use a lot of colors and I need them to blend, I thought it would make more sense to prep my page. Also, it adds some really fun texture to the background. So now we're actually going to be working because I have done a whole lot of talking and I haven't done any scrapping. There is nothing on my paper. So I'm just using the distress sprayer and we are literally just going to go and put color on the background. This is like called the packaging. Oh, the oxides are amazing, Danielle. I only have I have the originals in like the mini cubes. I never bought the full size of the originals, but the oxides are great. So I'm literally just gonna make a giant mess. Like this is what we're doing. We're going for it. I'm gonna make a giant mess, and hopefully by the time I'm finished, we'll have something that looks like a background. So I'm literally just dropping ink onto an old bit of packaging. Actually, funny story. This is the packaging that my stockings came in for pinning because I had to wear silly white stockings. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have already seen pinning pictures. If not, I'm going to be scrapping a million of them. But we had to wear like the white caps and the white dresses and the white stockings. And the packaging that I'm using is the packaging my stockings came in. So any bit of packaging works, whatever scrap bits you have lying around. So I'm going to try to I'm just overlapping colors. So I used Pink Raspberry so far. I just dropped some worn lipstick. Right now I have Abandoned Coral. And I tried to pick colors that were similar in tone to put next to each other. So like Abandoned Coral and Worn Lipstick are both really warm. Oh, thank you, Christia. Thank you so much. Yeah, nursing school was an adventure. Every day I thank like God and heaven and whoever was watching that I made it out, because there were definitely some days that I did not think it was happening, but we made it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So now I have Ripe Persimmon, which is more of a red-orange color. And I'm putting that right next to the Abandoned Coral. And I'm literally just gonna like smush ink into the background and dab it up as I go. And it's actually doing exactly what I wanted it to, so no hyperventilating is necessary. Abandoned Coral was the first Distress Oxide ink I picked up because corals and teals are my favorite color to scrap with. So I picked up Abandoned Coral and then I was just like, all right, this is amazing. And then I think the next one I got was Peacock Feathers. So Abandoned Coral and Peacock Feathers definitely are like colors that have my heart. Because they're so much fun to use. Also, like, I find that corals and like pinks and teals pop up in so many collections that they're almost universal. So, oh hey girl, I'm in New York City too. Where are you? I'm in Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm in the Midwood area of Brooklyn. I was born and raised, so New York is all I know. What part of New York City are you from? Okay, so what was I saying? Yes, so I find that corals and teals And like if you are new to mixed media and you don't know what colors to start with, corals, pinks, and teals are like a great color palette to have in your stash. I was actually in Astoria yesterday, and then we ended up in Long Island City, and we were literally just roaming Queens and hanging out. We went bar crawling. The one thing about being out of nursing school is there's so many celebrations, and my liver is about to break up with me because every day someone wants to go celebrate, and we almost always end up at a bar, and we make terrible life choices, but whatever, we survived, so we deserve to celebrate. Yeah, so if you're new to mixed media and you're thinking about starting and you want to know what colors are worth investing in, I would say abandoned coral, picked raspberry is the first pink I started with. That's a great color. Depending on if you like brighter yellows or more like mustard yellows. Okay, so here's what I did. Here's where I'm making mistakes now. I did not leave myself any room for blues or greens. Like this paper is covered in pinks and yellows, and there's barely any room for blues and greens and purple. So that is the downside to scrapping the way I do, because I'm very much, also I have gesso all over my hands, so that's life. But I have to now like figure out how to make the blues and the greens fit in so I can get the entire rainbow. But I tend to just go for it and I wing it. And sometimes it works out. I promise in the end, this is gonna look the way, actually I'm not making empty promises. I have no idea if this is gonna look the way I want it to, but we will have something by the time it's over. So yeah, so now I added mowed lawn, because that green I felt like blended really easily with the yellow. And then I just added a little bit of pine needles, which is a darker, more saturated green. And same thing, I'm dropping the color and then I'm wiping it up as I go. And I have my craft mat on my desk. I actually don't know why I even bothered with the craft mat, because there is I have one of those like Dollar Tree foam boards on my desk because it's filthy and I just refuse to buy a new desk. And now I need one of those new foam boards anyway because it's covered. Oh, did you? No. Okay, that was a problem. All right, so I got blue everywhere. Okay, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. This is why I don't scrapbook live, by the way, because I'm probably gonna have like 3 meltdowns while I'm working. And the good thing about doing edited videos is no one sees your meltdowns. And when you're scrapbooking live, everybody hears you freak out. It is mad that I didn't leave it space. That is exactly what happened. Also, I probably should have turned the paper instead of carrying the ink across the page. That would have made more sense than what I did. And again, we are going for it. So I hope you guys are on the adventure. If you watch my YouTube videos, I talk a lot about getting on the struggle bus. And my mission today was not to end up on the struggle bus, but I have no idea if that's gonna work. Okay, so I'm putting down my last 2 purples, and I used Seedless Preserves and Dusty Concord. Seedless Preserves is a warmer purple, and Dusty Concord has a lot more blue in it. Oh wait, it actually worked out. You guys, look, it did exactly what, even with the blue everywhere, it did exactly. All right, so there's a little bit of empty space right in the middle. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a little bit more blue right in the middle, but it did exactly what I wanted it to do. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm just gonna fill in that blue space right in the middle and just blend it out a tiny bit with that pink. Okay, so now I have a background. Oh, you guys, okay, this did literally exactly, I'm sorry that my desk is like rocking so violently, but this did exactly what I wanted it to do, because look at how pretty. Oh wow, yay, this is perfect, because then after that, so I'm gonna leave that to dry while I keep working, but my plan is to like layer my title over that, and then I'm gonna like scrap and do my embellishments, but it worked out so well. Okay, I'm covered in ink, I have gesso everywhere, but it did. Okay, crisis averted. So I'm just gonna set this aside to dry, and that's the reason, because you can see it kind of still warped a little bit, and it would have like completely fallen apart if I didn't put like the gesso on the background. So I'm gonna leave this somewhere to dry. I forgot to mention that I have cats, so if you hear them, I take no responsibility for what they're up to. Minerva tries to jump into my lap like every 5 minutes, and she's gonna get very upset when I don't let her into my lap. So the other thing I'm gonna do while I have my inks, there she goes. So the other thing I'm gonna do while I have my inks out is I thought that cut file looks like clouds, so I am going to yeah, Minerva's wild. She's my special cat. Astoria hates me and just hangs out in the corner and glares at me, and Minerva wants to love me like all the time. So it's quite comical because Tori glares at me, and then yes, so when I named I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and when I named my cats, I picked Harry Potter names. So Astoria she's not as well known of a character, but she's Draco Malfoy's wife. And I just liked the name. And yes, Minerva, like Minerva McGonagall. I needed a Slytherin name because I definitely identify as a Slytherin. And so I wanted a Slytherin name, and none of the Slytherin girls had good names. Okay, sorry. Back to, I do not get me talking about Harry Potter. I won't get any work done. Okay, so I'm going to, so I liked that these the insets of the cut files look like clouds. So I'm literally just going to color them using the same distress, Minnie, stop it please. I'm gonna color them using the same distress oxides that I use to color the background. And I hope this doesn't take too long so you don't have to watch me, but I'm just doing some really simple ink blending. Actually, I need to cover my fingers because I'm gonna get ink everywhere. I have Post-it tape somewhere for moments like this, and I can't find it. Where's my Post-it tape? Okay, I can't find my Post-it tape, and I don't want to waste too much time looking for it. So I'm just going to use some micro-pore tape, but I like to use like Post-it tape on my fingers when I'm doing this because it keeps me from getting my fingerprints on the surface that I'm inking. So I'm just going to have to use some micro-pore tape. There is literally ink all over my hands. This is insane. So I'm just going to go in and ink some of these clouds because I think it'd be fun to add some more color to them, and I'm going to pop them up on foam on my background. So since my title is She Believed She Could, So She Did, I thought it'd be fun to do kind of like a dreamy, if that makes sense. Like I'm thinking about like channeling dreams. So clouds, dreaming, sleeping, we're going for it. And also it's just a way to add more color and more stuff to the background, like there's not already enough stuff going on. So if you just made it, hi Chelsea. If you just made it, hello, good morning, welcome. I am doing a bunch of mixed media chaos over here, and I'm scrapping a photo of me wearing my cap from pinning. I just like put a bunch of stuff on a background. I had a little bit of a meltdown and a panic attack, but it worked out just fine. And so I'm coloring some of the clouds, which were the insets from the cut file that I used. And all the cut files obviously are from the paper issue shop. There are so many. So part of the reason why it took me so long is I couldn't figure out what cut file I wanted to use. I was gonna scrap a picture of my nephew Noah. So then I was like, should I do like a fall cut file? And then I was just like, is anybody still scrapping fall pictures? Does it make sense to scrap fall pictures? So I didn't do the fall one. And then I kept coming back to this She Believed She Could, So She Did. And I was like, if I keep looking at it, I might as well just go for it. So that's what we did. We went for it. So I'm just going ahead and using, so these brushes, I probably shouldn't like say this, but when it comes, good morning, Barbara. Happy Sunday, welcome. When it comes to like tools, this one goes here. So I'll spend like full price on like products and blah, blah, blah and stuff like that. But when it comes to tools, I always look for the cheaper option. And I found these blending brushes on like Amazon for like a third of the price of the real stuff. So I just bought these generic. Also, I'm not like a hardcore card maker, so these do what I need them to do just fine. So yeah, when it comes to tools, like when it comes to like tape and trimmers and stuff, I try to save my money for like actual scrapbooking products. And I don't want to spend that much on like blending brushes. So this set of blending brushes was like $10 on Amazon, and it works great. Also, you notice that I'm terrible at like cleaning between colors. Like I tend to just pat it off on my mat and keep going. I think the real card makers, if they were watching me, they'd be like, what are you doing, you silly girl? But I'm very like laid back when it comes to, I think that one goes there. Okay, I've mixed up my yellows, so now I'm never gonna know. Yeah, Danielle, aren't they great? Like they do the job just fine. So I've mixed up the lids from my yellows and I have no idea if I put the right color. I hope I put the right color. I don't even know if this is the, nope, this is not the right one. Sorry, I gotta switch this before I like ruin it forever. This one. No, I did have it right. Never mind. I'm slowly losing my mind. So I'm just doing colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So I did some like pinks with oranges together. I did the 2 shades of yellow together. I'm just gonna go ahead and add some green to this one. And then that way when I'm ready to actually work on my layout, these are all ready and I don't have to stop and go and ink things up. Because I also want to put my craft mat away and get all these inks off my desk because I don't have a lot of space. So I gotta maximize what I have. They are so much better blending than the daubers. When I first, guys, I just put the green cover on the yellow ink. I have too many inks on my desk. When I first started playing with Distress Oxides, I was using the ink daubers and my blends were horrible. And I couldn't figure out what people were doing to get like such seamless blends. And I kept watching like YouTube videos on how to blend Distress Oxides and nothing was sticking. And then I tried these brushes and now I feel like I can actually do like ink blending. Hi, Lisa, good morning. Lisa, we're up and we're making messes, so welcome. We're literally making a giant mess and hoping that at the end we have a page. Things are going sort of according to plan, sort of. So how do Sundays work for you guys? Is everybody happy with Sundays? Because Sundays work best for me. My husband typically always works on Sundays, so I don't have to like entertain him first thing in the morning. And Sundays are the day I do most of my scrapbooking anyway. Yeah, well, yes, no. If I could hire someone to come and clean this up. The other thing is I don't have like a full scrap room. Like I live in New York City. So my husband and I have a 1-bedroom apartment. So I have kidnapped part of the living room to like scrapbook in. So like if my mess starts like spilling out into the rest of our apartment, my husband like threatens to murder me. So I really do need to tidy it up at some point. Okay, so I'm almost done with these clouds. I just have 3 left and I have a bunch of other clouds hanging around. I didn't like pull out all of them. I just pulled out I think like a dozen. Because the cut file was a page full of these clouds. So I think I pulled out a dozen and I pulled out all the ones that have like more than one hump. I have studio lights on right now, Christio. I didn't have them on in the beginning and I was trying to figure out why the video looked so dark. And then I realized that I didn't have my lights. So I have a studio lighting kit from Amazon that I use to light my area when I'm scrapbooking. Because we don't have great lighting in the corner that I'm in. So I put this tape down on my fingers and it's not doing anything at all. I don't even know why I bothered. We don't have great lighting in the corner that my my scrapbooking corner is in. So I have lights. I have studio lights on. I need to be neater, Jessica. I wish I was. I'm very much, so here's the thing about the way I scrapbook. You can kind of see what I'm doing right now. I just pile things up in the corner and don't think about it until the next time that I have to make something. Like when I was working on my December daily album, that was the cleanest my scrapbook area has ever been because I was working in it every single day. And I couldn't make something until I cleaned up the previous night's mess. So since I was working in it every single day, it was actually pretty tidy. The rest of the time, like now that December daily is over and I've gone ahead and packed away all my stuff, it's going right back to being a mess all the time. Okay, I'm finished inking up my clouds. All this stuff can go away. Take this tape off my fingers. All right, so that was pretty much all the background stuff that I had to do to actually start assembling the layout. So if you just came, honestly, the only thing you missed was me having a meltdown because I got blue ink everywhere, and me making a background. So I'm just gonna clean up my craft mat, put it away, and we can actually get started on assembling the page. The good thing about doing this much work before is the page shouldn't actually take that long. Okay, so my background is still drying. I'm going to work off of, do I like living in NYC? Yes and no. I was born and raised here, so it's all I know. But to be perfectly honest, the cost of living in New York City is just wild. And it is steadily getting unmanageable. And I've seen my friends who've left the city and they're doing like so much better. Also, I just finished the first portion of my schooling, but I do want to go to grad school. And the program that I want to do for grad school isn't offered in New York City, so we will be moving at some point. The only thing that would keep me here is my family, because my entire family's here. My husband actually left upstate New York to move down here when we got married. So he's game to go anywhere. He has like no real roots here, but New York City's home, so it's like, it's iffy. There's definitely some days where I'm like completely over it. I don't do crowds well, which is like New York in a nutshell. But yeah, so yes and no. There are definitely some days I love this crazy city, and then there's some other days where I'm just like, please get me out of here right now. All right, so I'm working on my photo, and now come back. So my husband's family is from near Lake George, Lisa, if you know that area. They actually still live there. Half the time you make your family eat somewhere else. That's great. That is amazing. Yeah, my husband's family lives near Lake George. They're technically in the Fort Anne area, but when I tell people Fort Anne, they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I just tell them Lake George because most people know where Lake George is, or I tell them that they live about an hour north of Saratoga. So they're about a half hour from Lake George and maybe an hour from Saratoga Springs where the racetrack is. But I don't know if I would survive upstate. I need a city, and whenever I go visit, when we were dating, and I used to go visit him, everything would like die. Like everything would go super quiet, super early, and it'd be like I'm used to like 9 o'clock. Like, all right, so do you want to go on a date? Like, do you want to go out? And that does not happen, and I don't know if I could make it. All right, so I'm working on matting my photo. I like having a lot of photo mats. It is definitely something that I think is characteristic of my style. And I also like having ripped edges. So I put my photo first on a piece of white pattern paper. I just pulled out a bunch of papers from the 6x8 paper pad. And then what do I want to do with this one? I put my photo on a piece of white pattern paper first. Yeah, I'm gonna do it like that. And then I just went in and I pulled out a bunch of papers from the 6x8 paper pad. I like layers and I like dimension. Like when I actually start putting this layout together, I'm probably gonna use a lot of foam because I just like having things at different levels. And I'm very much a fan of scrapping in collections because then I don't have to make like design choices. The people who designed the collection made all the choices for me, which is a good thing about working in a unit. Okay. So I haven't actually used anything from the Truly Grateful collection before today. I've had it in my stash for a little bit. I got it in November, but then I was like full on December daily season, so I wasn't doing any sort of like traditional layouts, so I haven't actually used it. So this is my first time cutting into it, so all my stuff is still in packages because I've had it and I just haven't had a chance to use it. Okay, so that's how my photo is gonna sit. It's on its photo mats, and then I'm going to tuck it behind the title, kind of like that. So when I embellish it, actually, you know what I probably should have done? I probably should have glued all the letters behind my title before I started recording because this is going to take forever. Okay, so I'm learning all sorts of lessons about live scrapbooking. Sorry if I'm doing this all wrong. I've never done this before and I didn't think about this, and hopefully this doesn't take super long to do. I'm just using glue in the, yeah, it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to do when I'm matting photos. I'm just using glue in my fine line bottle, and I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible because I did not realize that I probably should have had this ready. But so here's what I did. Again, I just used the the cut file came with the actual backing pieces also, and I just used the machine to cut out the letter so I wouldn't have to actually cut it out myself because that would take forever and I don't know if I would have the patience for it. All right, so I'm just going ahead and sticking down my letters. Okay, so someone give me something to talk about while I do this because I got nothing right now. Also, I'm like very intently trying to make sure that I do this quickly so I don't bore you all to tears. So someone give me something to talk about. Where does this... Oh, I did this wrong already. Never mind. This is supposed to go. Yeah, so those are the backing pieces, which I really appreciated. I'm not sure who designs the cut files for paper issues, but whoever does design the cut file is like a saint. Because the hardest part for using cut files for me is having to hand cut all the backing pieces because that makes me crazy. And with this cut file, all the backing pieces were like it was designed already. So the only thing I did was before I cut it, I gave it a 0.090, I think, like an offset. I gave it a tiny offset so that it would be there you go. That's what it looks like. I gave it a tiny offset so that it would be the same size as the cut file itself. So when I backed it, everything would look the way it was supposed to. Oh, Stacy. So thank you so much, Stacy, for giving us the backing because you have no idea how, for me personally, I know some people who like Missy Whitten and Paige Evans, they like back cut files for days. I don't know how they do that. I don't have the time or the patience. So I was very excited when I saw this cut file to see that there was an offset for it. Yeah, so that's what I do. I do an offset. And you don't need a large offset. You just need a small one. But that way, when you cut it, there's enough edge on the file itself to glue it to the background. Because if you don't do the offset, then it's not big enough. My silhouette, so I almost threw my whole cameo in the garbage on Thursday. I was working on a project for, I wonder what your settings are, Diane, if your silhouette doesn't cut intricate pieces. You might have to tweak your settings. I actually don't use the standard settings for like pattern paper that come with my machine. I've messed with my settings a little bit to get it to cut better. Yeah, I messed with my settings to get it to cut better because mine wasn't working with the default settings. And then after I tweaked it, it works so much better. Yeah, backing cut files is wild, which again, that's why I was very grateful when I saw that Stacy, I'm gonna have to like tag Stacy and tell her thank you, that she gave us the internal pieces. Oh, so a bunch of people have asked what glue I'm using. I am just using the Scotch Tacky Glue or the Scotch Quick Dry. And I have it in a fine line bottle. It's just the 18 gauge, the standard tip fine line, because it's a fine line tip, you get only a tiny amount of glue at a time, so you don't have glue spilling out everywhere. And the Scotch Quick Dry dries really fast, dries white. It's my favorite glue. The only time I don't use Scotch Quick Dry is when I'm using, is when I'm sticking things to glitter paper. because Scotch Quick Dry does not dry well on glitter. Okay, so we're making, here we go. Here's a peek at it. We're making very good progress. Things are going along smoothly. I'm almost done. I just have a few more letters to glue down. Yeah, it's actually coming out. So I used the paper I did because that paper had all the colors. That paper had all the colors in the collection. So I did it. So that was does that E go there? That E does go there. Okay. That paper had all the colors in the collection. So I didn't have to like do a lot of work and make sure that I had all the colors represented. And then what I did was I cut it out right of the middle of the paper so that it was getting, like I said, all the colors in the collection. And then super easy. I don't do any work. I hate admitting this, but when it comes to scrapbooking, there are certain things that I am very lazy about. Like I will make a mixed media background for days, but if I have to hand cut stuff, it just feels really tedious and I'm not doing it. So again, Stacy's amazing for giving us the internal pieces because then I don't have to do this and it takes me so much less time to actually assemble this layout. Okay, I'm almost done. I think I just have a few more of the letters. That S goes there. So just a few more letters and then we can go back to playing. And I think the next time I do a live video with the cut file and I'm backing it, I might back it before I've like mixed all my letters up. I think I've mixed all my letters up. I think that S was supposed to go here. Okay, it doesn't matter. They're all the same color. Oh, really, Tracy? Well, you know what, Tracy? You do, like, amazing fussy cutting with, like, stamps and stuff. Every time I see you do things like that for, like, Ellie Studio and you cut out, like, those hand-stamped letters, I just, like, I wonder, how did you do that? Because that would take me days and days and days to get through it. And you do amazing stuff. Oh, thanks, Jackie. This part is pretty easy because I don't have to do anything besides stick things where it belongs. It's kind of like just filling in a puzzle. It's just filling in a puzzle. And like I said, I had everything in my little coffee filter, so I didn't have to go look for pieces. Everything was where they should be. And Stacy did all the hard work. I didn't do anything besides glue bits and pieces. Okay, I'm almost done. And I kept a few of the little white pieces that to cover in the O and the D. Wait, I'm missing an E. I was like, wait, I'm missing a letter. Yeah, I can't fussy cut. Like I watch people do fussy cutting. Like people fussy cut whole papers of like flowers and stuff, and mine always look crazy. Tracy, you should just cut. I'm just gonna come and move in with you, and then we'll scrap together forever and ever, and it'll be great. All right, here we go. There's my title. What was I saying? Saying something. Yeah, I can't fussy cut. And it makes me really sad because I would like to. And I get all these papers with like these really beautiful florals and I can't fussy cut them out. My edges are always like janky and I hate the way it looks. And so now that my title's flipped, you can kind of see what it's going to look like. And I needed it backed so I could actually finish the layout. So now we just get to assemble things, and I think my background is pretty much dry, so things are really coming together really quickly. That's the downside to doing mixed media, is you have all these bits and pieces everywhere and you have no idea how the layout's going to look, and then you get to this point where things can start being assembled and then things just start falling into place. So we're right around the point where things are going to start falling into place, which feels really good. Okay. All right, so that actually worked out really well because it has all the colors. Okay, good. Now we embellish. So here's how it's going to look. So that's going to sit right there. My photo is going to kind of get tucked underneath it. And then I'm going to pull out embellishments. So I have all the stuff from the Truly Grateful line, and we're just gonna start sticking stuff down. So if you've never watched me scrapbook before, I hope this doesn't make you cringe, Yeah, so all the pieces do come with the cut file, Diane, and it is a cut file from the Paper Issues shop. It's called, the one I use is called She-Ra. I'm pretty sure it's called She-Ra. When I'm not recording, I can sign on and leave, and I'll tag you in the description of the cut file, so you can, yeah, Cassie's gonna show you. Hi, Kelly. So what was I saying? So I hope this doesn't make you cringe, because when I scrapbook, I'm very much a pick it and stick it kind of girl. Like, I know some people, like, they make judgment calls and they try things out, and I'm just like, nope, sticking things down. So I just cut that wreath in half so that you see it on both sides. I hate when, like, you put something behind a photo and then you just never obsessing over your glue. So the fine line bottle comes with like the fine line bottle comes with like the cover has a little probe in it. So you just have to constantly cover it back, which thank you for reminding me, because I honestly forgot to cover it back up. But if you cover it back almost as soon as you use it, it won't stay close to people who feel like sunshine. I like that. If you cover it back as soon as you use it, it won't clog up. Picture perfect. So I'm just going through the ephemera pack and grabbing, there's 2 of those in there. I'm just going through the ephemera pack and grabbing things that I think might be fun. I like flowers and I like butterflies a lot, so I grabbed a bunch of those. Yeah, honestly, the fine line bottle is like the best thing ever. And I just keep filling mine up whenever. I'm like a savage right now. I'm literally just grabbing things and hacking things to bits. I promise you, that's not true. I'm always this disorganized. I would not lie to you. I was gonna say, I promise you I'm not always this disorganized, but that's not true. We might as well just get it out of the way now. Okay, so I'm just going through this and grabbing some bits and pieces, and now we're gonna start assembling. So we're going for it. And then we hope that at the end of this, we have something that looks kind of like what I wanted it to look like. I like this tag that says stay close to people who feel like sunshine. So I have a question for you guys. When you scrap yourself and you start putting these, like, does anybody else get a little weird about all these sentiments that you put on of photos of yourself, or is it just me? Because, like, I use these things that say, like, picture perfect or you're beautiful. And then I'm like, is it vain to be putting something that says you're beautiful on a layout of yourself? Or am I just overthinking things? Like, is that just me being a weirdo? Am I the only weirdo? I can't be the only weirdo, right? All right. So I'm literally just popping things into place. When I scrapbook, I like to, I love myself. I love that so much. When I scrapbook, I like to put things at different layers. That's the other reason I use so many photo mats, because I can put something all the way behind all the layers. Oh, you don't use those sentiments. I've been trying to, like, practice self-love more often. I've been doing, like, a few, like, self-care challenges and stuff. With me just getting out of school, like, I was, like, in the gym, like, 8 times a week. 8 times is exaggerating because there's only 7 days in the week. But I was in the gym 5 times a week, and I was doing all sorts of things to take care of myself. And then all of that had to, like, go to the wayside for me to make it out of school, because I worked full time while I was in nursing school. And I tell people that, and they look at me like I was a crazy person. But I had to work because, you know, you're a grown-up and bills don't pay themselves. So I do a lot of, that is a very good point, Diane, and that is why I scrapbook so there's a few reasons why I scrapbook myself a lot. One, there are no kids at home, so there aren't very many other stories to tell if I'm not scrapbooking myself. But 2, for the same reason, because there's no way we're going to be the same people a few years from now. Like, I'm not the same person I was 5 years from now. I'm not even the same person I was last year. So much has changed between 2019 and 2020. And I think it's really important to tell those stories and to scrapbook yourself, which is why I've been adding so much more journaling to my pages. Like, I've added journaling in ways I've never journaled as much as I journal now. Like, if you guys have seen my December daily pages, I've been writing practically essays. I wrote practically essays for 25 days. Like the amount of words I got on those pages, just because the journaling and the stories are so much more important to me than, don't get me wrong, I love a pretty page, but I think having the words, I like this yes. I'm going to keep that yes out because I really like that. I think having the words is so much more important than having, okay, so I'm not the only one who's weird about those, who's weird about that. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, like I said, I'm very much a pick it and stick it kind of girl. So I'm literally just grabbing things that I think look interesting and I'm just sticking it down. If I stop to like second guess every choice I make, I will never finish. And I feel like I've been scrapping this layout for like years already. Can someone tell me how long I've been here? I hope I'm not boring anybody. I don't know. I mean, I'm filming on my phone, so I can't use my phone. Oh, it says 41 minutes. Oh, that's not bad. I thought it'd been much longer than that. All right, so here's my background if you guys have just made it. This is what we were working on earlier. So this is going to go under this, and it's still warped a tiny bit. So here's how that looks. And then photo's gonna sit right there. Title's gonna go right here. I gotta pull this up a little bit. And I think that actually looks, what do you guys think? I think it actually came out really, it did just what I wanted it to do. I am super excited. And I'm super excited with how this is coming out. Yeah, Chelsea, rainbow's my favorite color. If I could scrap a rainbow all day, every day, I would. I really want to put this yes. I think I'm going to put this yes. She believed she could, so she did. So I'm going to kind of tuck this yes just like that. All right, so I'm actually going to start assembling because I still want to put those clouds everywhere. So here's another tip, since I'm just full of tips today. If you're using mixed media and things don't stick, you should try a wet glue. I found that if I try to stick things down, if I'm using gesso or anything, nothing is sticking unless I use a wet glue. I've tried every tape runner in the world. It doesn't stick. Just do not waste your time and go straight to a wet glue. There is cat hair on my layout already. These cats are the worst. I'm surprised Minerva, oh, they're sleeping. That's why you don't hear them right now. So I'm surprised you don't hear the cats running around. Like, I was doing a chit chat video on my YouTube channel and Minerva actually jumped onto my desk and like into my lap while I was filming, which was like wild. Yeah, so if you're, yeah, mixed media and wet and tape runners, not your friend. It won't do anything. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and edge to edge this. And the paper that I use, so the paper that I cut my cut file on is just regular cardstock from Michaels. It's the Recollections brand. It's the like, oh, I didn't put this down straight. It's the like generic brand, but the paper that I use for my background is Basil cardstock. And Basil, I find, just holds up better to wet mediums than the Michaels cardstock. And I really didn't care about using the, oh, thank you. Thank you, Janet. I'm really, so again, I'm very particular about where my money goes in this hobby. And Michaels cardstock is pretty cheap. But when it comes to like mixed media backgrounds, Basil cardstock's the way to go. So I keep both in my stash. If I'm doing a background that's not going to have any mixed media, I will just use the Michaels cardstock because there's always a coupon and it's really easy to replace. And then I'll use the Basil for the important stuff. Okay, so here's how that looks. I'm going to just start sticking things down so I can start putting my clouds. Because I think what I'm going to do is put my clouds up on foam. I'm going to get foam. I have foam tape somewhere. Ah, perfect. Foam belts. Okay, so my plan is to like cluster the clouds together and then maybe put like one in a contrasting color up on, I can get it off the desk. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cluster them together and then put one in a contrasting color up on foam, and I'm gonna do them in clusters of 3. I just like things in groups of 3. I think odd numbers, I feel like that's like a design theory, like I think it's called like the rule of thirds or visual triangle or something. Vicky Boutin foundations paper. I did forget the yes. Thank you. Thanks, Barbara. No, I haven't tried foundation paper. Does it hold up well to mix? Do you still have to like use gesso and stuff? Because I haven't tried it, but if it's worth looking into, I'm going to add it to my shopping cart. And does it come in 12 by 12? Okay, I'm just playing with foam to like get this. Foam, behave yourself. Okay, so that's how the clouds are gonna look. So I'm gonna do that in a few places and just layer the clouds over top in like, I wanna put a purple one because I don't have any purple anywhere else. So I'm gonna put a purple one and put that green one and then maybe put this blue and purple one. It's thicker than cardstock and doesn't get so bubbly. Okay, well then I'm gonna have to look into it. I don't know if I actually have anything by Vicky Boutin. And which is weird because she does so much mixed media stuff. You'd think I would have something. It comes in 12 by 12. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, so distress oxides are like my favorite. Yes to the VB. Distress oxides are my favorite way to add mixed media to a background. I've tried things like shimmers, like the spray paints and stuff, and I cannot really figure out how to make them work for me. But I can handle a distress oxide, so I tend to just stick to there's cat hair, literally, now it's in the layout. Okay, great. So now when I take pictures, there's cat hair literally in the layout. Okay. So I'm just working on adding some clouds in the groups of 3. I think that's gonna look really, okay. I am actually slowly but surely falling in love with this mess that I've made. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more set of clouds on this side, just to do a group of 3. And I think I'm gonna use this orange, this yellow, and maybe put a blue one. And actually, no, I have enough to do another one. All right, so I'm gonna do 4. I'll just do 4. I'll do another one on the bottom. All right, so let me just pick this up. Cat hair out of your photos. Yeah, my cats are just, I like to say that Minerva just loves me too much. And I wish she would love me a little less, but that's not true, because if she loved me less, I'd be heartbroken. And so I don't know why I say that, because the way Minnie loves me is like my favorite thing about having cats. But now she's sleeping and she's not loving me, so whatever. But you guys see her on Instagram all the time. She also like loves sitting in my chair the second I get up. So I'll get up to like go to the bathroom, which takes like a minute, and I'll come back and Minerva will be in my chair like asleep. Like she does it super fast. She's like a cat ninja. It's wild. All right, so I really liked the clouds. I like the saturation of the color, and I like that it just adds a little bit more interest to. Okay, so what do you guys think? You'll send me some BB, Cassie. You're the best. I love you. Okay, yeah. So what do you guys think so far? Because I'm quite fond of how this is all working out. I think it looks pretty good. You love it. Thank you, Chelsea. Yeah. So now I'm committing. I'm going to commit. I'm committing. All right. So I'm gonna just go ahead and just put. Oh, thanks, guys. Okay. I'm glad I'm not boring anyone. When it was time to sign up for the live challenges, I figured free file free for all would be good for me, because I like working with cut files, and I didn't want to pick something that would make me like unsure or uncomfortable because I didn't know how like this live scrapbooking thing was even gonna go, but I think it is going really well. All right, so I'm sticking my photo down, and then I'm going to add my title, and I can't forget my yes because Barbara has reminded me. So I think I'm just gonna put the yes right there. I think I'm just gonna put it right there. All right, so we are just about, I think we're just about done, because I think after this, I'm just gonna add some like puffy stickers in a few places. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna add some puffy stickers in a few places. The other thing is I have this like crazy thing. I can't be the only person that has all these like crazy scrapbooking rules. Like I'm sure everybody has their own. But I have this thing that if I introduce a color, I have to put it somewhere else. So now that I have that rose gold, I have to find somewhere else on the layout to put rose gold, or it feels, to me at least, it feels like an accident. That's actually, like, I'd love to know what you guys, like, what your scrapping rules are, because I'm sure everybody has their own rules that they have to stick to. I have to repeat colors. I like having things bookended. I like repeating elements. And I'm sure everybody has theirs. Okay, so I'm just covering this background, my cut file in glue so I can stick it down. I'm going to have to put this like under a book for a few hours before I take the picture because it warped a tiny bit. Not a lot, not enough, like not anything to complain about, but it did warp a tiny bit. So I do have to flatten it out. So I'm going to go ahead, stick this down. I'm sure Danica, everybody has rules like that. I cannot be the, actually, you know what? I think I like this on top of the cut file. So I think I'm gonna pick that up and put it on top. Yep, I like it on top. I'm sure everybody has their rules. Okay, so I put that Y on top. So yes, she believed she could, so she did. Oh, it's, yes, okay. Yes. Oh, it wouldn't be me if there wasn't at least one crazy squealing moment. Odd numbers and everything has to be secured to the page here. If I told you, I like to, so I have this, actually I'm not going to do another set of clouds because then I'll only have 4 clouds and I don't like things in even numbers. So I'm going to stick to the 3 sets of clouds. I don't think I'm going to use that Hello Sunshine anymore. So I just want to find something that's a bit shiny to add somewhere. I have these like buttons out, but I don't think I'm going to use them because I don't want any more texture. I just want something shiny. Perfect. These cardstock stickers have, yeah, oh my God, Chelsea, the amount of squealing I do, it is, oh, I'm like surprised people like listen to me because at one point my husband was watching me. He was like, Tashiana, are you always this annoying? And I was like, just so you know, people like my kind of annoying and you are a terrible person. But I squeal a lot. It is crazy the amount of noise I make while I'm scrapbooking. So I'm just gonna grab some of these. They have these rose gold foil hearts in the cardstock stickers, and these are like perfect for just adding like a pop of shine. I'm gonna tell him he said that, Chelsea, because I'm gonna tell him you said that because he thinks that people, I don't know. First of all, like I tell him that people are like watching my YouTube videos and he's just like, why? And I'm like, because people like what I have to say. And then he just goes like, if you understood how mean Joshua is to me, like I'm always talking about how much I love him, but he's also very mean to me. He's lucky I like him. Okay, I'm gonna stop whining because my husband's amazing. I should stop doing that. People are gonna be like, Tashiana's in a relationship where her husband hates her. He's not, he's amazing. But he does think that I'm a little bit over the top when it comes to my scrapbooking. And he just doesn't understand it. And I don't expect him to understand it. I don't understand half the stuff he's into. Like he watches people play video games online. I think that's outrageous. And he thinks it's outrageous that people watch me scrapbook, so. All right, so I'm adding more stuff because I couldn't help myself because I had those cardstock stickers. Okay, now we're done. And now I think now we're finished. Ah, thank you, Danielle. Yes, no, men don't understand. I don't expect them to understand. They don't get it. I'm just gonna like sit on it for like 2 seconds and decide if I want to add anything else to it. But I think, you guys, I think I survived my first live video, and I think we're finished with the page. So I am, yeah, unless I want to add some puffies. Should I add some puffies? I'm gonna add some puffies because everything else is already on this. Why not? Let's just add a few puffies here and there. Just add a few puffy stickers. Okay, just add a few puffies. Okay, so that's it, you guys. I've added a few puffy stickers. Aw, thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed the layout. Thank you for coming and spending your Sunday with me. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you for spending the last hour with me, and I hope you had fun hanging out with me. I'm going to, oh, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. So I'm going to make sure that I save this for a replay in case anybody else wants to watch it. And just come and find me on Instagram if you want to see like close-ups of the page. And I guess I'll sign off. Till next time, keep it crafty, friends, and have the best day. Oh, hold it up. Sorry. Okay, hold it up. So here's what. Thanks, Tracy. I didn't know that was a live rule. Okay, so I'm holding it up. So here's what it looks like. So you can. I'm gonna turn it sideways so you can see. So there's like texture all across the top. The clouds are like on an extra layer, and yeah, I think the mixed media background worked out super well. So there you go. Okay. Now, for real, I'm going to go make my coffee and chill out for the rest of my Sunday. So, happy crafting, friends, and I will see you. Thank you, Tracy. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I think my next live is keeping it. Oh, what's my shopping code? It is Tashi. It's TAZHI. I will put it in the description somewhere. Yeah, it's just Tashi. All my friends call me Tashi, and you guys are my friends now, so please call me Tashi. And yes, so that's my code, and I will have close-ups in the Facebook group. I'll share a picture of the layout, and I'll also share it on Instagram, so you guys can see close-ups of it, like, lit and edited. I think that's it. Any other housekeeping? Thank you, Cassie. Any other housekeeping? Okay. I think I got everything. So yeah, so I'll be back in 2 weeks. Same thing, Sunday, same time. I will try to remember to like send out a reminder. I'm trying to be better about those things so that if you want to come out and spend next Sunday with me, because we're doing sketches next Sunday, and I think it's going to be fun because I love playing with sketches. So, okay, I think that's it for real this time. Okay, so bye, friends. See you in 2 weeks.